is Tarik Talk. Your host, Tarik Mendez, takes you on a journey with guests from all around the world. Broadcasting around the world. Around the world. This is Tarik Talk.
All right, guys, today I'm here with Sophocles. Sophocles, thank you so much for being here today.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Tarik.
Thank you. I'm so excited. We're in the middle of a setup. I know you're so busy, so I do appreciate you meeting with me for this podcast.
Of course.
Do you want to start off by giving us your Instagram info?
Of course. So the Instagram for my company that hosts these shows is Startshows, like start an engine, and shows like art shows. And my Instagram for my art is Farm Boy Story, and you can see some of those comics behind me on the wall.
Okay, cool. Yes. So to our left, this is your work, correct?
Yes, and also behind you too.
Yes. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then to my right is your wife's work, which I'll also be interviewing her later, right?
Yes, that's true.
Which I'm very excited. This is just a little preview today. We're just getting like a little sample taste of everything. So I'm gonna have this episode published as soon as possible after we're done. So
awesome.
I just want to let everybody know that the art fair opens today. The show. It's going to be for 3 days, correct?
That's correct.
How many artists are you going to have in the space?
We have 40 artists, and it's from Friday, today, until Sunday.
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday, it's open from 1 to 9 p.m.
Okay, cool.
Free admission, too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love this. So tell me a little bit about this, this program that you started, like this fair almost. Like this is your 19th one?
This is my 19th one, not as a company to start shows, but at this gallery at One Art Space. We've done more in other locations, but at One Art Space, it's my 19th show. As a company, we've done about, I believe, 13 or 12 or something like that. The math is escaping me right now. Yeah. But I'll tell you a little bit about it. So the way it started was my first show here was called Septemberfest.
Okay.
And it was on September 2018. Okay. It was the first gallery show I've ever done. I had a hand in helping curate like table fairs in Astoria, Queens at like a Greek cultural center for arts. But it was nothing like this. I was looking for like a professional spot that I can have a show where I can hang art on the walls, and I can also have tables, and it could be like a hybrid of like sort of like an art fair and an art exhibition. And I came across this space when I found out about the Jack Kirby art exhibition. A little bit about Jack Kirby. He co-created with Stan Lee the Avengers, the X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Black Panther. Yeah. So when I saw this space, I met the gallery curator at the time, the gallery curator Diego Ponce, and he said, I told him I wanted to do a show, and he said you could do it here. And I was not expecting that because I had been to Chelsea Galleries, and in Chelsea, they told me to go to the Lower East Side. They told me we don't do that. We don't get artist art here. Like, we don't do that. We don't look at artist art. You can't submit here. They were very rude. I didn't like the attitude. So I was like, I'll make my own show.
Typical Chelsea.
Yeah, very, I can't speak for all the galleries there, but the ones that I tried to go to were not very friendly. Yeah. So, then, fast forward to the Septemberfest show, one of the artists was Thais Coelho, and her art is to the right of you, those the acrylic paintings behind you. Yes. And she was one of the featured artists in the show, and at drop-off, she gave me a kiss on the cheek, and that left an impression on me. Because I was like, okay, I guess she likes me. But apparently in Brazil and some other countries, they give kisses on the cheek. It's just part of their culture, right? So I asked her out a few days after the show, and she said yes. And then we started dating, and we hit it off. And we started doing multiple art shows around NYC. Some were at One Art Space, some were in other places, in other venues. But after about a year, since we were hitting it off and we were doing like very well in our relationship, we got married. And then we formed Startshows in the end of September of 2019. So we've been doing shows at this gallery, me, since 2018, and Thais was a part of it since the beginning because she was a featured artist. But then as a company since 2019, and it's been like 19 shows since 2018 here. So this place feels like home, and it's amazing.
Did you have that vision, like when you first started, like with the first show, that you would keep going, like as far as you have so far?
You mean at this gallery or just as a curator, as an organizer of events?
Organizer.
Yeah, I did want to do it for a long time. I was very interested in it. I love fine art since I was a kid. My parents dragged me to museums as a kid. I didn't appreciate it when I was a young kid because as a young kid, you don't want to walk too much. You don't want to, you want to do things on like video games and not as many cultural things. You don't appreciate it when you're a child. Yeah. But I'm very glad my parents did that. And they brought me to all these museums and all these awesome places when I was young, because now it led to this. And I've formed a community over 6 years, an art community, not just of artists, but of art collectors, art enthusiasts, like gallerists, all the people that love art. It's been such an honor and a pleasure to just be able to offer this platform to hundreds of artists in a 6-year span, and so many more guests. I think I saw on Eventbrite that we've hosted like over 3,000 guests in our span of doing Startshows. Yeah. So that's awesome. I'm glad they have that stat so I can know that. But yeah, it's just been a dream come true. And not only do I get to feature my own art in a beautiful gallery in the heart of TriBeca, where like Robert De Niro has the TriBeca Film Festival. It's such a classy, upscale neighborhood. But this gallery space is beautiful. The staff is amazing. Shout out to Carlos over there, and the rest of the team: Jaime, May, Dan, and it feels like family. And it feels like home.
Yes. And do you see yourself like in the future, like keeping this going as far as you can, and like creating a community, helping artists showcase their work?
I think in some way. I don't know if we'll be always doing it in New York, because like my family right now is based in Brazil. We might start doing it in Brazil, like opening like a little like bakery, like we're thinking of calling it Bonita's Bakery, and maybe something, because a nickname for my wife, I call her Bonita, and I thought that was a good name because it's an alliteration, Bonita's Bakery, and making it like a gallery / art space as well. But I would love to continue to do shows in NYC. I don't know like how often it would be because I'll be in Brazil. But I don't want to end it like just now. Like there's such an awesome response to the community, and they seem to have a need for it. And that's what I realized after Septemberfest in 2018. There was a need for it. At the end of the show, the guests gave the artists and me a standing ovation, and all the artists like hugged me. They gave me handshakes. Were like, "Thank you for doing this," because that was like something new at the time. There was other pop-ups, but they weren't really like in galleries. 'Cause at first it was a 1-day show, and we expanded to a 3-day show. They weren't really in galleries at the time. They were in like bars or lounges or like alternative spaces. But I wanted to do it in a professional space so that the artists could put their show on their CV, their resume, and they could say, "Hey, I exhibited in TriBeca one art space."
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And I want to circle back right now to your comic.
Sure.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So this is Farm Boy, and it's a comic about a farmer that loves science fantasy comics.
Oh, nice.
And he always wanted to like travel to other worlds and meet other beings from other worlds. In his mind, he has a big imagination, but he's a farmer and he loves his farm animals. He's a vegetarian, and so am I. So I put myself a little bit into the character. He doesn't eat his animals. They're his best friends. He lives alone on an island. But soon, in the beginning of the comic, if you look up there, the first page it pans to the aliens, not to the farmer. And they're about to invade the Earth.
Oh, wow.
So he gets some superpowers from, I'm spoiling it a little bit, but whatever, from the alien scientist who betrays the king and gives superpowers to him through this like high advanced technology, like super satellite vibration machine. I haven't really thought of, it's called like the Enhancer. I think that's what I called it. And his animals get powers too, and they all know different martial arts, and they have access to pneuma. And in Greek, I'm Greek, pneuma means like spirit or energy, breath. So, it's kind of like Dragon Ball where they have ki. I'm very big inspired by Dragon Ball. It's my favorite cartoon and comic.
Me too,
Oh, awesome. That's good to know. And so they have to fight the aliens' technology and the aliens' threat with martial arts and their powers that they receive.
And are you gonna have copies for sale today?
Oh yes, there's copies for sale throughout the weekend, And some of the pieces on the wall of Farm Boy are for sale. The ones that are in the middle of the C shape are for sale. The original comic pages are not, just because I feel like it's too early in the comic's lifespan to sell those pieces, because I've attached them because they took a long time to make, and also because I don't think I'll get the price that I want for them now until I actually it becomes a big thing. And I have faith in myself. I know I will.
Oh, you definitely will.
Thank you.
And do you have those for sale online as well for people that can't attend the show? They're listening to the podcast.
They can hit me up on Instagram on Farboy Story. They can DM me, and I can always ship it to them.
Okay, cool.
On Startshows, our website, startshowsnyc.com. I think it's also listed for sale, and they can purchase it through there.
Okay.
And then I can, print more if I run out, and always make more of the zines. But soon it's going to be on Amazon. There's going to be a couple of chapters in concept art, and the first book is going to be called Farm Boy Genesis.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And have you ever always had a love for comics? Like, how did you start from reading your comic books to creating your own? Like, how was that creation process for you?
Sure. So I started off reading comics when I was a little kid. I really loved animation, like anime, like Dragon Ball, and I didn't even know it was from Japan at the time because I was just a little kid.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that it came from comics, like the anime. That's where it stemmed from. But I loved all sorts of comics and cartoons, like Ninja Turtles and Sonic the Hedgehog, the video games, and Marvel and DC characters. And my father gave me my first comics. I don't know which one was my first one exactly because that was a long time ago, but I know my favorites were something like X-Men and Spider-Man, and I also had Superman, and I don't think he gave me Batman because it's a little bit darker as a kid, but I had a lot of X-Men, Superman, Spider-Man comics. And then I bridged on to manga when I was more of a teen. And the way I kind of got started on this journey was when I was in high school and senior year. I didn't know what I wanted to do in college, like many people don't know, because they're still so young and life is full of so many possibilities and twists and turns. So I came across Shonen Jump in a Barnes & Noble. Shonen Jump is a Japanese compilation of popular comics for boys and teen boys, but other people read it too, like girls read it too. They're very popular stories. And I read that. I bought the comic magazine, and when I finished it, a vision came to me. I was like, I'm gonna be a manga artist. I'm gonna have my own manga in the future. So the only school I wanted to go to was a school of visual arts because I didn't want to leave New York, and it was the best school in the country for comics. They have a comics program.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's actually on 23rd and the main building is 23rd and 3rd Avenue. Right here in the city.
Oh, wow.
So I learned from teachers like Phil Jimenez, who has drawn Wonder Woman and Spider-Man, and I think the X-Men too, and not Justice League, Teen Titans. I've learned from the author of Batman Year One in school. Actually, he was one of the teachers that I had. His name, I'm drawing a blank right now, but if it comes back to me, I'll mention it. Yeah. And other amazing teachers at the School of Visual Arts that have drawn for Marvel and DC Comics. So I have a lot of background in that, but I have more of a Japanese art, cartoony style. It's not really mainstream superheroes, super anatomy, detailed, a million lines and all that. And my art is more simple, but I'm glad I learned from some of the masters that are in the industry here in America. So, I had to make a portfolio for SVA, and it was last minute. I had a month to make it because I decided that's the only school I'm going to go to. My parents took me to other schools to look at it, and sometimes I didn't even get out of the car to look at the campus, even though they drove all the way to Brooklyn from Manhasset and Long Island, and that's a drive, to cool. Pratt. I was dead focused on SVA. Luckily, I had Michael Sansone, one of my mentors, my friend and teacher from high school, who had been to SVA already. He knew what the portfolios expected. And he's an atelier, which means that he is very advanced in oil painting and acrylic and drawing and sculpture and watercolors. And he's an awesome artist in his own right. And we're still friends today. And I visit him when I can. Shout out to you, Michael Sansone. You're the man. He helped me get into SVA, and that was a dream come true. And if I didn't go to SVA, I don't know if I'd be doing all this now. Yeah. One of the things that Dan Giella, the owner of this gallery, the CEO of the gallery, he went to SVA too. So maybe that's one of the reasons why I got my first show here, because he bonded with me over that, and I kept coming back at other shows, not just the Jack Kirby show. And he liked my tenacity and my consistency that I kept coming back. So that's a tip to any artist. If you want to get your art anywhere, in a gallery, don't bother the CEO during or the owner of the gallery during an opening because they're probably really busy. But go when it's like slower hours, like during the week or something, and show your face many times, and then you'll probably strike up a rapport and a relationship with them, and it'll help you in ways that you can't imagine. Just make connections, talk to people, and even if you think you're bothering them, most of the time people like being talked to, and they like, schmoozing and talking. Yeah.
And do you think, like, as you mentioned before, being exposed to art with your parents when you were young, do you think that created like a love of art for you?
Oh, definitely. Especially comics, because my dad gave me my first comics, and fine art, because they would take me like every museum, every vacation we went to, they would find like 5 museums to take us to, and me and my brother and my sister would be like, but I'm glad they did, and now I appreciate it. Like I can say like I've been to some cool museums in like different states.
Is it like a full circle moment for them? Like, have they come to the shows and get to see you in action?
Yeah, they come to my shows, they support me, and my dad loves art, so I think my mom loves art too, but I think my dad loves it a little bit more. And sometimes like he like is tempted to buy a piece, and my mom's like, no, we don't have any space on the walls for that. Even though I think it's just because she wants the walls to look clean, but he's like, oh, I want to buy this piece. My mom's like, no.
No, I get it.
I feel like him too. I support the artists in the shows, and often I never leave a show without supporting at least one artist, and I often support not most, but there's a lot. Several artists in the show. I'll buy prints. Sometimes I buy originals if I connect with pieces. So I'm a fan of the artists, and they're my art fam. They're not just clients,
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And then for the people that are interested, like listening to this podcast right now, they want to attend tonight. Do you need any type of like QR code or SVP, or can people just show up?
People can just show up. There is an Eventbrite that has detailed information about this event, the featured artists, what they can expect. We have a magazine release party tomorrow in collaboration with Blue Calf. It's an NYC Bronx-based publication. I'm very tight with Blue Pablo, the founder, and he's going to be releasing his Blue Calf NYC Stories issue 2 that features artists that work in New York, do shows in New York, live in New York, and artists of multiple mediums. And ours as a company and as artists, we were featured in the issue 1. I was featured in one of the Blue Calf original volumes too. And in Blue Calf issue 2 NYC Stories, we're featured as a company. We have like an ad in the magazine. So I'm very grateful to you, Blue. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. And if anybody has any questions, can they just directly reach out to you through Instagram?
Of course, I'm very approachable as long as someone's polite and they're they're not rude when they DM me. I usually answer, maybe not immediately, especially this weekend because I'm going to be like a million DMs because all the artists are going to be tagging me and everything. But I usually reach out. I get back to people as long as they're polite.
Okay, love that. Can you tell me a little bit about like what are the special features of the Art Vengers?
Yes, Art Vengers exhibition has a really, really cool feature where if you go, as soon as you come in the entrance, if you keep walking straight down the right-hand wall, there's a room called the Creator Room, and there's going to be free art supplies, not to take home with you, but you can draw here at the show on complimentary paper with different art supplies, like different kind of markers and color pencils, and you can make your own creations, and the back hallway and back walls were left empty on purpose so people can make their own creations and pin them on the wall and be featured and join the Art Vengers.
I love that.
In one art space gallery, in a TriBeca gallery. And you know what? It's kind of like a wink wink like cheating situation, but they can say, hey, I featured my art in a TriBeca gallery because they drew something in the gallery and they pinned it to the wall, right? So I won't hold them against it. So I won't hold that against them. But they're also going to be complimentary beverages on Friday and Saturday. And there's going to be sangria, some wine on Saturday, and there's going to be apple juice, iced tea, and water so that the kids and people who don't drink can have some beverages too. And there's going to be art on, like I said, the magazine opening on Saturday, the release. There's going to be an editor's talk with the editor. I'm going to be interviewing Blue Pablo. And there's going to be some like interviews of artists and just artsy, fun vibes. There's art of all kinds in this show. We got comic art right behind me. You can see it. We got oil painting, acrylic painting, drawings, jewelry, NFT art, digital art, animations, sculpture, every medium you can think of, we got it.
Yeah.
So it's a full circle, amazing art show, and I invite all of NYC to come. Like I said, free admission. You can just show up.
Yeah.
If you want to RSVP on our Eventbrite, we appreciate that. It just helps us know how many people are going to come. But even if you go on Eventbrite just to see the information, that's cool. And you can learn more about the show there.
I love that. And do you want to add your Instagram and all the info again one more time for people listening?
Of course. So the Instagram for our company, mine and Thais' company, Start, S-T-A-R-T, shows, S-H-O-W-S. And my Instagram for my art is Farmboy Story, and I'll also give Thais' Instagram for her art. It's Thais, Thais, Coelho, Coelho. I know it's a Brazilian name.
Yeah.
Dot Artista, Artista, and her art is to the right of Tarik.
Yes, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. It's her Geisha series. You're welcome.
Me. When I got here, I told you you're like a founder with many hats. You're running around organizing things. You put on your suit. Now I'm sure you have to take it off again, do the setup, and then put it back on.
Yep.
But that's the life of a founder. So thank you so much for meeting with me.
You're very welcome.
For this podcast to go out and get published. We'll definitely meet again and go into depth. But yeah, so everybody, please attend the show today. It's definitely nothing like this in New York City. All other boroughs, please welcome. Right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Tarik Talk. Follow Tarik Talk on all social media channels and check out the video interviews online.